new detail on England's lockdown regulations.
Yes, indeed, and perhaps we'll get into that in more detail for your callers after 6 o'clock, Eddie. But the regulations which essentially put into law the lockdown requirements were published last night, and they spell out really in quite depth and detail what you can and cannot do. There's 32 pages of the stuff that I've been wading through so you don't have to. And broadly, it's clear that they're considerably less restrictive than they were in the first lockdown in March. There's a list of exemptions for when you can leave your home that's as long as my arm. It includes work, volunteering, exercise, visiting your relatives in prison, going to funerals, and many more besides. Also, if you're a drinker or you happen to own a pub, you'll be delighted to hear that takeaway drinks will be allowed. There was some suggestion that they might not be, but only if you order via post, via phone or text. No more.
Via post?
Well, that's what it says in the regulations, okay. Eddie. I'm just reading out what they say. No more popping to the bar for a tray of takeaway pints. You've got to do it remotely. And then there are a variety of similarly bizarre rules. So you can go fishing with one other person. But angling? Well, no, you can't go angling. Angling is a sport, you see, and amateur sport is banned. Kids are banned from playing sport, unless, of course, they're at school, in which case that's fine. And so, look, it's amusing to poke fun at these exceptions and contradictions, but I think it says two things of substance. One is, I think, just the difficulty of ever legislating to control people's lives to this extent. There are just too many shades of grey in the real world. And then the second one is the sort of arbitrary nature of much of these rules. Sir Patrick Vallance said at a committee this week, the scientists do not advise on detailed policy, like whether or not kids can play sport in school or outside school. And so these rules, we have to assume, are made to some extent by politicians without detailed scientific advice on exactly why.
As far as the regulations are concerned, as Matthew suggested, after 6, Matthew will be here along with Jack Foster for us in Glasgow, Daniel Bevan in Cardiff. If you have a question about how the rules pertain to your life, call the LBC All Stars. You can phone and book your place now, 0345 6060 973. Also, very important information today, Matthew, about care homes.
Yes, this has been a long time coming. We've heard extensively on LBC about the problems about particularly visiting care homes and relatives who haven't been able to do so for many months. New government guidance published, which essentially says that all residents should be allowed to see their loved ones, but there will be strict conditions. Visits will have to be either outdoors or outside windows or perhaps indoors with floor-to-ceiling dividing screens. And that's had a visceral reaction, really, from campaigners already. The head of the Alzheimer's Society has tweeted that she was absolutely devastated by what she called an appalling, heartless decision that visits can continue in gardens or in conditions worse than prisons, she said. Now, we know there's currently legal action underway challenging the previous government advice on care home visits. It's currently unclear how this will be affected by the most recent changes, but campaigners still not happy.
Thanks, Matthew.